Have you guys seen this stuff that is going on with Candace Owens? Candace Owens, man, I'm telling you, this woman is at the center of controversy. And she just tweeted out something so bizarre, I don't even know what to make of it. Now, I know that Candace Owens has been getting a lot of flack lately because of her coverage of the Charlie Kirk situation. Maybe rightfully so. I tend to be on the side of, I think people should let her cook, okay? I tend to be the type of person who looks at government with a very critical eye. I don't trust government. It doesn't really matter who is in the administration or who is in power. I just simply don't trust government. I think they have one of the largest incentives to lie of anyone really on earth. So that's why I tend to give people like Candace Owens the benefit of the doubt. I believe she is more trustworthy than a government. And of course, this government I'm talking about is a government who is putting forward this narrative about the Charlie Kirk situation, the Charlie Kirk assassination. And it's very clean, to the point. There was this leftist who shot Charlie Kirk. And really, he's going to go on trial, and this is, all this stuff is going to happen. And, it's going to be very clean and concise. And, that's kind of what they're putting forward to the public. And to that, I say, well, that is a possibility. That could be true, yes. But Candace Owens is an individual who is very, very close with Charlie Kirk, and she was deeply affected by this. And she is starting to investigate kind of the ins and outs of what was happening with Turning Point USA and kind of everything revolving around Charlie Kirk. And she is rightfully a little bit disturbed at some of the stuff that has happened, some of the inconsistencies that she's brought up, and some of the things that she talks about that she doesn't believe make sense or that seems very mysterious or suspicious. And I think Candace Owens kind of has gotten a bad rap because of how she is investigating the matter. And a lot of this stuff is coming from large influencer accounts on X who are slamming her because she is questioning the official narrative that is coming from an individual in the Trump administration, which is Kash Patel. He's the head of the FBI. They, of course, they're investigating this. They're being very selective on what information they are sharing about what happened to Charlie Kirk. Of course, we know the official story about Tyler Robinson and how he crawled up on this roof and allegedly shot Charlie Kirk. And then, of course, the Utah State Police, they got a tip from the father that it was their son, and the son turned themselves in. And someone could believe all of that and there wouldn't be a problem, but people like Candace Owens are pointing out kind of what's going on, what's happening, staying on top of this story. And it's legitimate that there are some serious issues with this story. And there constantly are cropping up some things that just boggle the mind. For instance, the most recent one that I saw is an investigative journalist in Utah went to the police and asked for footage of Tyler Robinson turning himself in. And he was told, he asked twice, because first they couldn't find it or something. The second time, they just said it didn't exist. So you're telling me this super high profile assassination, the body cam of the suspect turning himself in, that doesn't exist? What a coincidence, And people can call you a conspiracy theorist and all these other things, but it is odd. You have to admit it. There's many, many other things. I know Candace Owens, she gets into stuff about these Egyptian airplanes that were flying in and out of these TPUSA events or following Charlie Kirk around. I don't really pay that much attention to her podcast. I've kind of followed it from afar, observing the outrage that is happening on Twitter over the stuff that Candace Owens is saying. It has been kind of interesting how some of these people are treating her, because Candace Owens is kind of has the MAGA type attitude where she takes not a magnifying glass to government and their actions and what they do, but she takes a microscope. I mean, you look back before Trump was in power, we had people taking a microscope to stuff like election interference, to stuff like fake electors, fake elections, and the 2020 election. This was a huge deal. And she is kind of still following that same pattern where she is still observing and inspecting what the government is doing, their official narratives, the stories that they are telling us. And she's doing so with a highly critical eye, which I appreciate and I respect. However, there are some people that were calling this stuff out before Donald Trump was in office. But now that Trump is in office and Kash Patel is in office, Pam Bondi is in office, all these Trump people that were appointed by him, now it's taboo to do so. And Candace Owens is just the most high profile one I can point to and show this situation. Candace Owens has come out and she is making some pretty crazy allegations. I don't know what to think of this. I trust Candace Owens as far as I believe that she believes what she's doing. She believes she has sources that are telling her things, and she is touching on a lot of areas that could be dangerous if this information is getting out to a giant audience like hers. So I believe that there could be intent. I believe that she does have sources. Now, whether or not these sources are telling the truth, of course, that affects credibility. But I want you to look at this allegation that Candace Owens is making, and I want you to tell me what you think of this. This is crazy, guys. When I saw this, I was just like, man, what is even happening? I don't know what to make of this. This is what Candace Owens said. This morning, 12:28 a.m., she said, urgent. 2 days ago, I was contacted by a high-ranking employee of the French government. After determining this person's position and proximity to the French couple, I have deemed the information they gave me to be credible enough to share publicly in the event that something happens. In short, this person claims that the Macrons have executed upon and paid for my assassination. So she's saying this has already happened. They have hired a hit crew, I guess, to pay for her assassination. And the Macrons, of course, are the leaders of I almost said Canada. France. They're the leaders of France and the president and first lady of France. And of course, many of you might know that Brigitte Macron is the so-called wife of Emmanuel Macron, who Candace Owens has a very popular investigative series where she attempts to prove that Brigitte Macron is in fact a man. And despite the wild claim, it seems insane. Despite the wild claim, she does make a very compelling case. I don't know whether it's true or not. I will say it's pretty compelling. And she has received a ton of pushback from the French government, like to the point where you would say, thou doth protest too much, right? So it's kind of like she doesn't prove it definitively, but she points to a lot of stuff that seems like, okay, she's onto something, okay? So that's kind of, in short, the history with her and the French government. She goes on to say, yes, you read that correctly. More specifically, that the green light was given to a small team in National Gendarmerie Intervention Group. I'm not sure what that is. I am told there is one Israeli that is on this assassination squad, and the plans were formalized. Again, this person provided concrete proof that they are well placed within the French government apparatus. Further to this point, this person claims that Charlie Kirk's assassin trained with French Legion 13th Brigade with multi-state involvement. Journalist Xavier Pissard, this is was one of her sources about the whole Brigitte Macron thing. I believe he wrote a book or an article or something about the whole situation. He was like one of the OGs to break this story and talk about it, and he got in a lot of legal trouble in France. So that's who this guy is. Journalist Xavier Pissard's life is also at risk. This is deadly serious. The head of state of France apparently wants us both dead and has authorized professional units to carry this out. I am asking that every person retweet and share this. I do not know who in the American government can be trusted since this source claims our leaders are aware. So she's saying the American government is aware, but I have more specific information, which is definitely verifiable should they care to reach out to me. To the brave official in France who did this because they were so moved by the evil of Charlie's public execution to risk their life, may God bless you truly. Let all be revealed. So what a wild claim to make. So she is saying that the French government, so high-level individuals in the French government have paid for a hit on her life to assassinate her, similar to Charlie. And this is interesting because I remember something she said a while back. Because, guys, listen, I don't really watch her whole podcast, but I see clips of her frequently because let me tell you, if you are active on X and you follow the people I follow, some of these high profile people in the administration or these influencers that, pump up Trump all the time, they are constantly sharing clips of her and just roasting her over these crazy things that she is saying, these seemingly crazy things that she is saying. But she did say something about Andrew Colvett right after Charlie Kirk was murdered. She did say something about Andrew Colvett called her and told her that she needed to be careful. Herself and Tucker Carlson needed to be careful because they are also on a list or something like that. So I don't know if this has anything to do with this, but it does make me wonder, like, what is going on with all of this? A lot of stuff is kind of centering around what Candace Owens is doing and the fact that I believe that she has such a large audience and she's disseminating this information. And it does seem to be turning some heads of some very powerful people. I don't know if that means that her information is correct, if it's incorrect, if she's just kind of poking the bear. I'm just observing. I'm just telling it how I see it. This was responded to by Mel, Village Crazy Lady on X. And this is what she said. This is pretty interesting. She said, I just Googled, quote, French and Secret Intelligence Service assassinations, and the results are freaking wild. And this is what she came up with, which this kind of takes you deeper down the rabbit hole. It's just like, what is going on here? Hit squad of French secret agents hired for contract killings. These are articles that seem to kind of back up some of what Candace is saying. There are such a thing as French secret agents who are hired for contract killings. 4 French intelligence agents have been arrested on suspicion of being in a hit squad hired for contract killings. The agents, 3 from the Direction Generale de la Sécurité Extérieure, however you say it. I'm not French, so I don't have the muscles in my tongue to read all that stuff. The French MI6 and the 4th retired from the same thing, DGSI. The French MI5 have been charged with attempted murder over a plot to kill a respected businesswoman. So this is a thing. French intelligence agents charged in alleged murder plot. The Paris prosecutor's office says it has filed preliminary attempted murder charges against 2 agents from France's Foreign Intelligence Agency over an alleged plan to kill a 54-year-old woman last month in Créteil, suburb of Paris. Mossad's accomplices have Israel relied on foreign intelligence agencies to organize its killing campaigns. Don't know if that has anything to do with France. It doesn't look like it. So that's Mossad. We all know that Mossad, they're in deep with the Israeli government, of course, because it's like the CIA for Israel or whatever. But we all know they do some crazy stuff. French ex-spy suspected of Congo Brazzaville plot shot dead in Alps. The body of a former French intelligence agency linked to an assassination plot has been found riddled with bullets in a levee in the Alps. So this does seem to have some sort of history. French assassination hit squads. Guys, I mean, what kind of timeline do we live in when this is real? I don't know. I don't know. I hope she stays safe, but I just don't know what to think of this. And this is the last thing she posted. This is the most recent thing. She said this. There will be no official response from the Liesi's palace because what I have shared is true, and I have evidence to support my claim. I even have names. They are likely trying to figure out where the leak came from. We are talking about the murder of citizens for speech. Yes, and this makes it, obviously, murdering anybody is wrong, especially for speech. But for one country to hire hit squads to assassinate someone from the United States, that just like compounds it, right? That's like that's like almost going to war with this country. You can't do that. When it's from within, that's one thing. But when it's a whole nother country, what's going on here? And she retweeted this journalist, Xavier Pissard. I don't think I follow him. Let me follow him, actually. Boom. You got an extra follow there, Xavier. He said, the situation is extremely serious. The head of the French state apparently wishes death on Candace Owens and Xavier Pissard and has mandated specialized units to achieve it. So that is the latest from Candace Owens. I'm not usually one to do these videos on Candace Owens, but I saw that this morning. I've been seeing a lot of pushback against Candace Owens, a lot of very influential people kind of slamming Candace Owens. And I tend to be the type that says, listen, we got to let these people cook. I don't trust the government. I don't believe you should trust the government. I think everybody should look at the government with a skeptical eye and be constantly criticizing them because they have every incentive to lie to you. They have every incentive to create a narrative that sounds good to the public, or that's clean and simple and sounds good to the public, that makes them look like they are doing their job and they're doing their job well. And of course, there are conspiracy upon conspiracies that have happened that have directly implicated the government, the intelligence agencies, the CIA. So that's why I think these types of people like Candace Owens are important in the grand scheme of things. Maybe not to the government, but to you, the average person, because it keeps the government on their toes. They have to watch what they say. They have to know that there is dissent out there that's double checking their work. And that's someone that is definitely Candace Owens, because if you've watched any of her stuff, she is nothing if not thorough. She has gone through this stuff about Charlie Kirk with a fine-tooth comb, and nothing gets by her, it seems. And it's very frustrating to a lot of people within not just Turning Point USA, but the police in Utah, the FBI, because she has uncovered just about every inconsistency that happened. And she has highlighted it to an audience of millions. And they hate that. Now, whether or not that means they are actually lying, whether or not that means that the official story is not true or there's a lot more to it, I don't know. All I do know is there is some stuff that just doesn't make sense and is very true. Just quickly, I'll say one that doesn't make sense to me because I have personal experience with this type of thing. The one that really is a hang up for me is this idea that Charlie Kirk was shot by a 30-06 rifle. Listen, as someone who has been deer hunting multiple times with a 30-06, as someone who has shot a deer broadside in the chest by a 30-06 and has seen the wounds, I know what a 30-06 round does. And the idea that it would get stuck in someone's neck or wouldn't go through someone's neck is incredibly mind-boggling to me. And I just can't believe that. It just, I suppose, in the whole realm of possibilities, I suppose it could be possible in some way, shape, or form. But the chances of that actually happening to me are so slim, it wouldn't even enter the mind. But that's Candace Owens sharing some pretty frightening stuff. Apparently, she is being hunted by a French assassination squad. Can you imagine being hunted by a elite assassination squad from a different country? Dude, I don't even know what I would do. I don't know what the first thing I would do if I found that out. So, Candace Owens, I hope you stay safe. I believe her. I believe that she believes this is going on, and I believe she has a source that is telling her this. I'll be honest. A lot of people are calling her a straight up liar on these things. I don't think she's a liar. I think there's a good possibility that it's true. I don't know. But what do you think? Very, very shady stuff. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.